Hey, how's it going out there? Today is Wednesday Warriors. We want to tell you grab some friends, grab your people, please share this. You're going to want to hear tonight's show. So I'm going to give you that little bit of time. Go share it, grab your people. Let's hear what's going on tonight. Trust me, you need to hear this one.
Giving a voice to the voiceless. We share the stories behind our freedoms and the ultimate sacrifice of those who protect us all. This is Patriots Inside the Wire.
Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
Great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Welcome to the Patriots Inside the Wire broadcast, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step.
Hey, and we're back. We're back here tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire. We have Sid, the commissioner here in Texas, joining us tonight on a special episode. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm good. All is great right here at the ranch.
It's always a good thing, right? I got to do a shout out to American Hat Company really quick. You know how we are about supporting our Go Texan brands. So I noticed it's on you too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mine came right from American Hat Company.
There you go. So step out to American Hat Company. So thank you for that. We're going to get into an episode here that has a lot of information and a couple of individuals that I know you really want to hear more information, and we're going to do that. Yeah, go ahead and mute any mic. Anybody that has a mic open right now, unless you're on the stage, and stay off of Facebook. Blame it all on the producer. We're 3 minutes only behind. So, Sid, how are we looking right now? We're about not even 3.5 weeks out. What do we look like out there?
Well, I just got back Sunday from Butler, Pennsylvania. The enthusiasm there for the second rally. Of course, I was at the first rally too. It was electric. There was probably, they said 21,000, but there had to be at least 50,000 people there. They were standing as far as the eye could see.
Wow.
It was a rally / memorial for Corey Compatore, the fireman that lost his life there. Had some new speakers that weren't there at the first rally. Of course, first rally didn't last for 11 minutes. J.D. Vance was there. He came out and spoke to the crowd. I didn't get to hear him. I was back in the tent with Trump and missed his speech. But I was there and got to see Elon Musk. Oh, excuse me. He came out, really revved the crowd up and was, encouraged people. At that time, there was only 2 days left to register to vote, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Sunday and Monday. And he was encouraged people to register to vote and get out to vote. And he was right. And Eric and Laura Trump got up and spoke. So we had a wide variety of speakers. I didn't speak at this one. Of course, no one knows me in Pennsylvania. But got to see a lot of my friends that were there. G.T. Thompson from Pennsylvania, who's chair of the Agriculture Committee in the House of Representatives in Congress. Got to sit by him a minute. Saw my old buddy Louis Gohmert was up there, the only other Texan that was there from an elected office. Of course, Tony Noun was there with me with the United Republicans of Texas. Matt Cody, United All Workers of America, was there. He led that national anthem, actually. Some of his supporters and friends were there. So it was we had a good time. It was a long rally, which Trump rallies are known for that. Probably an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, and but it was great. We had a good time.
Well, that sounds great. So No worry out there. We're still standing tall, and we are all right there, right? Trump's looking good.
It seems to me that Trump is building momentum, and that's what you want to do as a candidate. You want to have a crescendo right before the election. You want to peak out, that last week of the election, and that looks like what Trump's on his way to do that. He's gaining down every poll you see, even the wacky polls. He's doing pretty good in. You want to watch polls like Rasmussen, Trafalgar, polls like that. Those are the accurate ones. New York Times, NBC News, ABC, some of the university polls, you can't really trust them because Trump underperforms in those polls. He's usually, underperforms by 5 or 6 points. So kind of keep that in mind if you're watching some of those, fake news polls, because they don't poll likely voters, and they don't poll an accurate mix of Republicans and Democrats. So Trafalgar, Rasmussen are the two that I really like to watch.
Yes, well, I love it. I love it when we get to have you on. Sir, that tonight you're here because we have two. You know what Gold Star is after dealing with, I'm sure many, but my son well, and me well, working in legislation, and plus you care if one of yours is gone. So I appreciate you for that. When I was approached by multiple people, even people that are serving as a politician, and said, "Is this real? What we're talking about tonight, everyone, is the Afghanistan 13 and what happened." And then the media came out, and then there was a story done, but it did not include the people. And you know me, I'm really big about people. And for me, if you don't want to watch the show because you think I'm one-sided and I'm voting somewhere, then bless your heart, because my son served. He's not here, and you better know every side and every angle. So stick with us because you're going to get the truth. This is why we're here tonight. I had multiple individuals, and these are individuals that I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to tell me, is something real? So I started looking, and I was like, A, it's real. And B, I don't believe I don't watch mainstream media. I do not believe what's on that TV. And then after that, even just a news article, I'm like, wait a minute, but where are the families? Like, what is going on here? This is not true. So I mentioned, I have a friend that if there's anybody that knows something that's going on, obviously it's you, Mr. Trump's big man in Texas, Trump's best buddy. So I said, you know what? We've got you, but I can tell you, everyone listening out there, listen to me. Trump could have used me all day long over my son's own legislation that he was extremely upset to see we didn't have it. Not only that, but just as a good person, 15 minutes. And it's taken me years to get certain people who even pay attention for 5 minutes. So you know how I feel. I'm always like, call me. I'll do it. But he's never, ever, ever done it. And he has never used me. And right now I'm at the point where I've been telling you, it's not using me. Let me tell my true story. You know that. And so I met some people here that I'm going to bring up. And they were accused of this. And I want everyone to know the truth. And so if you're not watching us right now and you catch it tomorrow, please pay attention to something we have in here. And Commissioner Miller, I am going to bring up, it is Darren, and I'll go by their last names in a moment. I know I've talked to them both now. So Jim McCollum just joined Patriots Inside the Wire with us. Jim has Rylee McCollum. Through Jim, this is how this started. It's strange. So let's just jump into it. I accidentally got a message the same day these politicians were, and it happened to be from one of the fathers. His name is Jim. Here's his picture right up there. And Jim McCollum, I said, by the way, what's going on out there? And he said, well, hold on. Got a hold of someone else. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to bring up Jim. Jim McCollum is with Rylee McCollum. And so Jim coming up, and right after Jim, I'm going to bring Darren up. And it is Darren Hoover, the Afghanistan 13 father, who was, I don't say was because you still always are, a police officer. And it was his son too. And he is the one who said, y'all messed up when you used my name and went out, and YouTube is like in the millions. So I'm like, Darren, you bet, let's get this one in the millions. So welcome to the show. We have Mr. Jim McCollum. How are you doing?
I am good. Sid, sir, it is a pleasure. I've gotten to know you through Tracy. Pleasure to have you here, and I'm excited to speak with you.
Jim, it's good to be with you, and God bless you and your family.
I appreciate you, sir.
Next, I'm sorry. Never mind. Jim knows the joke about that. Next on stage, we'll have Darren. Hi, Darren. This is
Hi.
Darren Hoover. How are you?
Good. How are you guys? Glad to be on here.
Good to see you, my friend.
You as well.
Do you have you known about Commissioner Miller before, or heard anything about us people in Texas? And yes, I'm country. I just said that.
No, actually, I wasn't until Jim got in touch with me and did a little bit of research. So I know there's more to be done, and look forward to speaking with everybody tonight.
Well, sir, this happened to me. Ooh, my hat fell. This happened with me, and then questions coming to me about this YouTube. And then Darren Taylor. So Taylor Hoover is Darren's son. They both have the same name. This has happened a couple of times to production today. And I said they both have the same name. There is Darren Sr. and Darren Jr. So Taylor Hoover is what we'll go by. Taylor Hoover tonight, and Jim McCollum, which is Rylee McCollum's father. Both of these gentlemen are Afghanistan 13 fathers. Darren is the individual who went on YouTube and should have. I do remember this. He just should have. So if you don't mind, Commissioner, I'm going to let Darren, his name is Darren Hoover, who went on to YouTube. I'd love to hear what led to this, what happened, and what do we need to do, or this story that we put out, Mr. Commissioner, you can get it to the right hands, because I'll say it for myself. I know their answer, but okay, it's time to tell real stories. Let's tell some true stories about the person and what we want. So, do you want Darren to go ahead? I mean, you kicked open the door. Go ahead, Darren. I think you said you scooted away. So, Darren and I, it happened. Darren, I think it's better if you just go ahead and tell us, where you were and what led you to that point to go on and tell everybody exactly what you thought.
Are we talking about Arlington?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I didn't know you had more than one. Do you have more than that?
No. I get lost in all this stuff that we've been doing. So just to clarify really quick, Taylor is not a junior. We share the same first name, but our middle names are different. So it's just Taylor. But anyway, we reached out to President Trump. He did not come to us. We reached out to him and asked him if he would accompany us and lay a wreath in Taylor's name at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And it just so happens that Nicole G's family, she laid to rest there, as well as Staff Sergeant Knaus. And we requested that he lay a wreath for all three of them, and an extra one for all of the Abbey Gate 13. And in that one, we had two of the catastrophically wounded veterans that were there, Kelsey Lane Hart and Tyler Vargas Andrews, that stepped up and did the wreath for all 13. But we're the ones that went to President Trump. There was a little bit of back and forth between his team and us, verifying everything, making sure Arlington was good with it. And so there was nothing political about it. I mean, it's no secret where I stand and who I support, and do so wholeheartedly, and have done since 2016. And so, moving forward, we had a little bit of a dust up, if you will, with Arlington, a little bit of back and forth with the Times and all of that kind of stuff. And then obviously his Secret Service trying to make everything go. And at the end, we had to have Congressman Issa, Congressman, oh shoot, help me out here, Jim.
Was it Waltz?
No, it was Chairman McCall.
Oh yeah, yep.
Chairman McCall and Speaker Johnson had to reach out to Arlington and say, you know what, you guys need to stop this stuff and you need to get it done. These families have requested it. There's no issue with it, and it needs to be done. And unfortunately, we had to go, like I said, through Chairman McCall, and he in turn went to Congressman Issa and Speaker Johnson. Congressman Waltz was involved, Mills, Mast, and a couple of the others, and they made it happen. The ceremony was very solemn. President Trump came in just beforehand and got a little bit of a debrief, like we always have. We've done this every year since the kids were killed. So this was our third time. And he sat with us, he talked with us like he's done all along. I mean, this is not the first time I've been with President Trump. He's had us down to Mar-a-Lago. He's had us at Bedminster. He's engaging with us. He actually cares and takes upon himself a little bit of our anger about what had happened, what had happened. Taking on a little bit of our grief. And I'll get into it a little bit later about the Bedminster visit. But at any rate, he talked with us. It was my Taylor's mom and her dad. And her dad is getting up there in age, and he's been with us every year. And he doesn't know, due to his health concerns, that he's going to be able to do it anymore. And so she reached out and had it taken care of. Her dad was going to be the one that placed the wreath, and then she and I were behind him. And like I said, President Trump was very engaging. He talked with Kelsey. He talked with Tyler. He talked with Nicole's family. Very solemn, very good ceremony for all three of them. We then went down to Section 60, where the kids are buried, and they did Staff Sergeant Knauss's wreath at his headstone, and his mom and his dad were on two separate calls with Congressman Waltz and Marlin, who is helping us out. And so they were able to talk with President Trump, and he was able to talk back with them and interact. And then he laid flowers. President Trump laid flowers at all three graves. And Staten talked with us for a little bit again. And went to walk away from us to go over to Sergeant Nicole G's family, and we asked for a picture. You know, these are the only memories that we have that we're able to make with with Taylor. And Jim can attest to it. This is the only thing we get anymore. Yep. We don't get to have, you know, Sunday dinner. We don't get to have holidays. We don't get to have any of that with them anymore. And so this is the things that we make memories of. And so we took the picture, and in very Trump fashion, like we've always done. I mean, you can go back and look at my Facebook. We've got our thumbs up, and we were just raked over the coals for that, being at the grave, and we're celebrating. Well, yeah, we're celebrating our son, and that's what we do. And you know, and after it was all said and done, and it came out, supposedly there was some scuffle between President Trump's communications team and Arlington staff. Arlington staff had come to us the day before when we were sitting there at Arlington, and you know, we requested that pictures be taken, and they said okay. And so that, I don't know where that news of the scuffle or whatever you want to call it, because we didn't see it, we didn't hear anything of it, nothing. I mean, it was quiet except for, you know, the birds in the background, and that was it. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why it was brought out, because like I said, we didn't hear it, we didn't see it.
So Darren, not to interrupt, but when you say we, I want to make sure everybody understands we're talking about the Afghanistan 13 families that were there. But you also are talking about, we've got Trump and his, he didn't even show up with this whole campaign. I want to point that out. But we also have Biden's side when you're talking about protocol and Afghanistan 13 at Arlington and where to go, where to be. So I want to make sure everybody understands this out there. Sometimes in our world, they really don't understand what we mean. So I'm helping you out there. I just want to make sure I clarify that for you. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah. And just prior to going to Arlington, my Utah State governor sent a letter to the White House, to both President Biden and Vice President Harris, inviting them to come and to open up a little bit of dialogue, because Jim can attest to this too. In the 3 years since this has happened, we haven't heard one single thing, not one single thing from this administration.
Not a word.
And we begged, we pleaded. You know, we had Dover when we received their bodies home at the dignified transfer. We chose not to see him. Jim came in with us, chose not to see him and talk to him. But since that time, and we've been going to Congress, and we've been doing all the things that we've been doing with them, petitioning them to open the investigation, to do the investigation, and so on and so forth. Nothing. Crickets.
Yep.
And so my governor sent that letter. We didn't hear a thing from him. And then
that's Governor Cox, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I have that letter. Yeah.
And so nothing. Crickets. Then Vice President Harris decided to go to NPR without speaking to any of us. NPR didn't come to any of us. We were all in the air, flying back to our respective homes when this NPR hit piece, I call it a hit piece, came out, and we didn't have time to react to it. We had nothing. And so we all decided, as our little coalition that we've got, of 7 of our 13 families that go to Congress, we decided to put those videos out challenging her and wanting some dialogue with her as well. I mean, what she did is she politicized it, not us.
Yep.
It was totally politicized by her. And for what reason, I can't understand. We're Gold Star families, for heaven's sakes. And to come at us like that is absolutely ridiculous. And fast forward to last week, Taylor's mom and I got a call from the White House, and it was a staffer. It was a nobody person, probably, a mid-20-year-old that wanted to talk to us. Oh, okay. We called them and talked to her, and well, we're reaching out, is there anything that we can do for you? And we're like, yeah, we want to speak to President Biden or Vice President Harris. And well, we understand that, but is there anything we can do as far as like getting you more information, getting you more help? And we're like, what are you talking about? And she went on to talk about our CACOs, the casualty assistance officers that are with us, and do all the interfacing between the Marine Corps and us. And she brought up TAPS, which TAPS is a great thing. Assistance for the Gold Star families. We're like, no, we want to talk to one of the two of them or both. And she just basically dismissed it. And that was the end of the phone call. It was literally like 5 minutes. And up until that time, we had not heard a single thing in those 3 years until that time. And then just kind of got blown off. And it's tone deaf. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting that the commander in chief, who, in my opinion, and I know Jim feels the same way, caused this crap to happen to our kids.
Without a doubt.
And because of his ineptness and his inability to make a cognitive decision, even though he was we're told by the generals and other staff not to do it the way that he had planned it or that he had discussed it. Otherwise, there would be problems. And it's completely 100% on blood on his hands for all of this.
Yes, I agree. Now, the way that I found you, Darren, is your YouTube video. Your YouTube video it's almost to 9 million right now. That video, would you mind repeating that? Because I was like, wait a minute, I want to see that live.
Which part?
The very first one, when you just came out of your heart and said, boom, boom, boom.
I don't recall exactly what it is.
Darren was a lot more articulate with his message than I was. Mine was a little more angry. Darren's was very factual and very angry. Honest.
One was very angry, and I get it. Anyone that wants to look, you can go look on YouTube. I did not bring it in on purpose because right now what we want to do is focus on, when you say administration, we're talking about the current administration, meaning
Correct.
Biden and Kamala.
Correct.
When we talk about Afghanistan 13 and needing answers or apologies, we're still talking about the current administration, not President Trump. And
Correct.
so as you brought Trump into the picture, I happen to have the letter right here. In this letter that I have read, that is from the governor in Utah, Governor Cox, and I've researched him. This is to Biden, this letter. This letter is more than nice. It is more than fair. And I read that going, my gosh, like that was like an over invitation to me. It was like, you went above and beyond to invite this current administration, and then you end up getting slapped in the face. And listen, did anyone show up from the current administration? That's what I want to know.
No.
None.
Nope.
Nobody.
Not a one.
Okay. But they both got the letters. They both got the information, meaning Trump got it, Biden got it, Kamala got it, and Trump's got it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the person that decides to show up, everyone who's following us here, was Trump. He did not go there for publicity. I have researched this. I've even gotten in touch with the commissioner there. We've looked at it. We've seen a few articles out there, but I knew that none of you had actually been literally given the time to talk to. And that's why we're here tonight, is to make sure we get the truth and then we get the information out there. So Darren and Jim, are you like me? Are you one of those that's saying, yeah, now call me? Okay, so you stirred up the hornet's nest. So now I do want you to call me, because I want Trump to point and go, look, those are my people. This is what we do when we run an administration as a president. Is that what you'd like now?
My thoughts on that one, Darren told me last week that the White House had reached out to him.
I didn't know that part.
It's about frickin' time. But for me personally, you're way too late. There's not a damn thing you can say, not a damn thing you can do at this point. And the fact that they did have a conversation with Darren and Kelly and then just kind of pushed it aside tells you exactly where they're at. The tone deafness, and they don't really care. Low-level staffer makes a phone call to try to just bury this and make it go away. And that's all they're good for, honestly. That's all they've done since the beginning. And the fact that they won't reach out, they won't call. And after the Arlington thing and our videos, they missed a golden opportunity to say, holy hell, we have a call. We better contact these families. They didn't do it. They have no interest in doing it, because to do so means that they're accepting responsibility for what the hell happened on August 26, 2021.
I think you're correct. I'd like to ask the commissioner now. Commissioner, I brought them on. I'll show some pictures in a moment. Now you've got to hear from Darren Hoover, Jim McCollum, two of the fathers. And we have kind of the whole story now, meaning both sides are invited. And it went on to the news, mainstream media, whoever calls news, whatever this, that's not my news. Kamala Harris decides to go on and bash Trump and say he's using this as a political move. How dare he do this in row 60? Row 60 would be the children that didn't come home and get a choice to take off a uniform, which the three of us here, our kids didn't get that choice. I'm not Afghanistan 13, so don't confuse me there, but the commissioner knows me well. Commissioner, what do you feel about this? What are you thinking? You got an aide at the last minute last week, decides to call, and
well, Kamala's actions really upset me. She's trying to deflect the responsibility and the inaction, and then the capabilities of the Biden administration to handle the exit from Afghanistan. I mean, that's just they really screwed that up. They couldn't have done a worse job. Pulling out like they did, it was awful. And then not only is Kamala, talking trash when she should be apologizing and trying to help these families, but they come up with this fake scuffle between the communications team of Trump and the people. Obviously, these men were there. It didn't happen. They said it didn't happen. So we didn't see anything. We were there the whole time. I don't imagine anybody was any closer to it than these parents that were there, to honor their children and with the president. So, it really just kind of pisses me off. I mean, it's just that's just low life. I'm a country boy, and we believe in honor and integrity and honesty and doing the right thing, and they're doing none of that. They're conniving and sneaky and cheating and there's a whole lot of adjectives that I can't use on here that
yes, sir.
I like to use. But it really upsets me that the best thing they could have done is just shut up, and not done anything would be and that's not very honorable. I mean, the honorable thing would be to apologize and try to tell these people, boy, we really screwed that up. I'm sorry you lost your son. But they're not going to do that. But what they've done is really is the worst of the worst, in my opinion. I mean, it's just really rubs me the wrong way.
And if I might add this, we've spoken about this before. Dates matter. They really do. Birthdays matter. Holidays suck, for a lack of a better word. And August 26th matters. My two daughters and my granddaughter and my son-in-law and my grandson, who was with us too, we did a 13-mile march that day for all 13 kids.
Wow.
We got home and I was able to view it was TikTok or something, I was able to view the ceremony. It was absolutely beautiful on such a monumental day for the 13 families. I got to watch that. I got to see Darren and Kelly in the background. I got to see Kelsey and Tyler. And then as they're walking up the stairs, I got to see Nicole G's family. And these are my family now. These are people that I absolutely love and admire. And it was the most beautiful, patriotic, wonderful moment for me. And in 20 minutes, I swear, 20 minutes, she posted her BS, and it absolutely nullified anything beautiful that could have happened on August 26th. My hike no longer mattered. I mean, 13 miles with a 4-year-old kid, that's a pretty substantial hike. And everything that we did to honor these kids and everything Darren and the families did to honor the 13 and to honor their kids was just absolutely, once again, you're just kicked in the gut by something so callous and so selfless, or selfish, I should say. Yeah, she had zero business saying anything. And as for the scuffle, if there's not a recording of it or a video of it in this day and age, you're full of shit. It didn't happen, period.
In the days of technology.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying there. I was trying to see the commissioner on that one. Anybody, if you have your social media on any channel, go ahead and make sure it's closed so we don't get an echo. I happen to know the story very, very, very well. I knew that both sides were reached out to. I knew that there's been an article. Actually, Commissioner Miller up there found the one article that we found, and we were looking, and I was looking to see, has anyone done a sit down to ask the families what really happened? Were you were on an airplane is what I just heard. I did not know that part. So you were on the airplane as our current administrative vice president right now, a female, went on air on mainstream media, and I don't like this word, so I'm trying to think of what word I want to use. Bashed Trump for going to Arlington Row 60, which is a sacred area, and I understand that it is. But a lot of people in mainstream media are going, Section 660, they're not in our lane. Our lane means our kids aren't here after serving. Now, for other reasons, people know about Section 60 in Arlington. But to go on TV nationally and say that he was doing this, when you know for a fact that's not true, and you're stuck on an airplane and all of a sudden you hear that they've, after you left and they were invited, did this big press conference to say all this horrible stuff about Trump. If you hadn't been on that airplane, Darren, what would you have said?
When I landed back here in Salt Lake is the first time I heard it, and I had social media popping up. I had text messages going off. I would have lit back into her right then and there. No questions asked. Anybody that knows me and knows my personality, I'm not scared of anybody. I might get my teeth kicked in every now and again, but I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not scared of saying anything. And sometimes that's been to my detriment. But you know what? When you pour salt in the wound of August 26th and try and politicize this for cheap political points, that's where I have the issue. And Jim's right. You know, Commissioner Miller's right. If they had just kept their mouths shut, everything would have been fine. But they had to go out and politicize it. Vice President Harris had to go out and politicize it and make it all about her again. for, again, the cheap points. And I would have come at her, you know, like I did. How dare you? How dare you vilify the man that has stood with us, that has sat with us? And I'll bring up the Bedminster thing now. So we had spent a day speaking in Congress, and Congressman Waltz had set it up that we drive from DC over to Bedminster, New Jersey, to meet with President Trump. We were guaranteed at least an hour to sit and have a roundtable with him, and where it went from there, we had no idea. So we get there, President Trump comes in, we're sitting around the table and having a very frank discussion with the former president of the United States. He's answering questions, he's asking questions, he's engaging with us. And, you know, he's asking probing questions about what we've been through, how we've been, and what we've been doing, all that kind of stuff. After that was done and wrapped up, and he started signing all of the pictures that we had taken from Congress that day that we had, and they're great big. I mean, they're huge, and signed all of those, signed whatever else we wanted him to sign, and sent us up to his restaurant up top. And we were going to have dinner. Lo and behold, President Trump comes up there, and he proceeded to spend the next 5 hours with us.
Oh, wow.
Doing nothing but playing music. Some of us were out there dancing. We, at that point, everything just melted away for those 6 hours. Everything just melted away. We were able to just take a breath for a brief moment and just relax and be with each other. And, you know, these are some of the only times that we ever get to see each other. Jim and I talk on the phone. We text back and forth. We do that with most of the other families as well. But to have us all get together, it's kind of a rekindling of spirits, if you will. And so we needed that time. And very gracious. I mean, good gosh, 6 hours with the former president of the United States sitting with us, talking with us, wanting to engage with us, showing us his love, showing us his empathy, showing his compassion towards us. I wish that more people could see the man that we see,
Absolutely.
that we've been engaged with, that we've gone to some of his rallies and he's had us backstage. We were here in Salt Lake at a fundraiser. He had us backstage. And I mean, I wish so bad that this partisan crap could go away and we could get back to being a country like we used to be.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And
sir.
we
Yes,
can-
sir. And let me unmute him. I'm sorry, Commissioner, you're muted. And Darren, I'd like to put out something. You've been an officer as well for how many years?
25.
25 years. Are you retired?
I am fully retired.
Okay. Well, thank you for that service that's needed all around this country right now. Very bad. The piece I'm working on in legislation has to do with transportation. So thank you for what you do. I really wanted everyone to understand that no, they haven't spoke to anyone that is in the current administration. No, nothing has happened. Yes, people are putting out articles, but they aren't reaching the families. And they aren't getting the families like, what do you say? Or let's get a quote. Let's find out what's going on. So I'm not going to say I'm going to say a bunch of us cared. Just things went in the right direction when they were supposed to. Let's say that. Yeah. So, Commissioner, we meet Jim McCollum, we meet Darren Hoover, both sons, Riley and Taylor. Pictures are in here. I'm going to show you those in a minute. Had Trump been in office, well, you know what? Don't answer that because he came and he's not even in office. So, yeah, we don't have to go to that one. Here is something that I have brought up, Commissioner. I was speaking with Jim, and you remember I was just in D.C. with the Rosie the Riveters, who just got their commendation medal.
Yep.
These ladies have been waiting 65 years for someone to notice from World War II. And so I went, you knew about this, and working with the Rosies and the Trust and the Gary Sinise Foundation, thank you to them, even Boeing helped. And we had them out there at a certain age. And I did something that on the back channels, I'll talk to you more about, that I did with Mike Johnson. I needed someone to stand up and actually do something instead of sitting around watching chairs reserved. You can't tell me that 99 to 118-year-old women have to stand there and wait till those seats get filled with Congress. And so fast forward, 3 people, I finally got to the 4th and said, who the hell's in charge? And they pointed to a man, and I said, all right. So I walked right up and I said, I pay my taxes, I vote, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do. These ladies need to sit down right now. Get these seats filled or do something about it, damn it. And he walked off from me, and I thought he was never going to talk to me again. And he comes back and he goes, go remove the signs that say reserved. I said, thank you. And we sit down, and out the door, I know if you've done accommodation medal, Jim figured this out. I was there at the same time, and I'm going somewhere with this. Through the line walking out, and I'm looking, and I'm like, why is that man in front of her? I usually do know my politicians, meaning the ones that I'm working with. I'm not going to say I know someone unless I know them. I haven't paid attention to the current administration on certain things. I didn't need to. I have a lot of people that are engaged in several things. Commissioner, we worked on, I don't know how many people came to me, about 10 campaigns this year. But mainly it's to help people, literally. So the man that pops up on the stage was Speaker Mike Johnson. They told me he was head of security. So I went, I haven't even shared it yet because in the background you can hear me go, oh my God, that is the man I just said a lot to.
It's not often you get a cuss Mike Johnson's ass.
It was not on purpose. The commissioner knows me well enough to know that I would have never said. Now I would have been firm about these ladies need to sit down. This is stupid, but I would have never said some of the things that I said. But I'm okay with it. It was the truth. I didn't cuss, but I made my point. And Darren, that's what it reminded me of when you did your YouTube video. I heard it. I felt it. The words, everything that you said. I could tell. And so that's why you have millions of people. You're up to 9 million, by the way, who are trying to listen. Yeah. And they're getting a hold of me and they're going, can you please find the fathers? And it was an accident that Jim, on the exact same time frame through Royce, connected to me. It's his daughter. His daughter is Royce. Connected to me. And I said, hey, I need to ask you a couple questions. Here's where you're at, Commissioner. The reason I'm bringing this up for you, Darren, right now, and you know that, Jim, why I'm doing it. Commissioner, you're not put on the spot, so you don't have to answer. But the first thing that hit me was, as hard as these ladies work for 65 years, also, I don't know a single family that has lost their service member and has been brought to the White House to get a commendation medal by the Speaker of the House, the White House. I don't know a single one. And so I said to Jim, that's interesting. Did you think that was right? Or why would you get such an accommodation like that so fast? Because to me, it feels like that's their way of saying sorry and see you later. I said, because I've seen the process. It's not an easy process. If they had to fight that hard, that long, how in the heck did you get in there right after? And you've got a commendation medal when I could give you thousands. Too many. There's too many. There's way too many that don't have that. So, Commissioner, can you answer that for me? Because I looked at that and went, I said to Jim down here, I said, Jim, I don't like this one, because I said, I don't want that taken away from y'all. I want y'all to enjoy I do. I promise you I do. I don't want to take from it. But what I want to point out is, why did they get a commendation medal and all those others who have served and things have happened, they don't have one?
Well, I don't know that I can answer that question. I can't get inside their heads. But I am glad that they recognize Rosie, that they was long overdue. So I give kudos to Speaker Johnson for making that happen, and to you for getting those ladies a seat to sit down. That was well deserved too.
Well, you're talking 99 to 118. I hope somebody does that for me, and I'll be up there if I'm 118 and have everything working.
A couple things, like Darren said, get back to the America we have and that we know. Yeah. And I don't know, Texas is still part of the West. A gentleman gives up his seat for a woman, for crying out loud. And if you've got a 99-year-old woman, give her your seat. Don't give a crap what your prestige is or whether you have a reserve seat. By all means, get the hell out of the way and let her sit down.
Well, it was blocked off for Congress, so only Congress.
I know, but they're not any better than you or I, and they certainly aren't any better than those women.
No, I made that known.
And then, as for the medals, I am so appreciative of that. In I guess appreciative is the only word I can come up with. And the only reason I can conclude why it happened so fast for these 13 was, one, the notoriety of these kids. These kids are changing the world, whether they knew it or not. And there are enough people that do support us and do honor our kids and they do have our back, whether they say it or not. There were enough people involved that made this happen. And it is unfortunate. I mean, that was a 20-year war. There are 2,000 some odd, if I remember correctly. Man, I wish they could experience what we experienced.
Yeah.
But there's something about these 13 that hit the nation in the gut when it happened. And there are enough people still active and still in Congress that said, you know what, we're going to do this. Speaker Johnson was one for sure. McCall's been very active in it. Mills and Waltz. There's so many names in there that I think will facilitate this. And those are, for lack of a better word, they are true patriots. They really do care, and they've shown that to us time and time again. And for this, I don't think there was any political motivation for them, because their names aren't out there. They're not highlighting this and, hey, look what we did. It was just something absolutely beautiful that happened for our 13 families. I do feel bad for everybody else, and I wish everybody could experience the same, but I'm so grateful that our 13 kids were honored. There's no way to answer that.
Yeah. Well, I have my way to answer it, and it's because my son served. I tell everybody, be careful, because if you want to know the truth, you don't ask the question. So if you don't like the answer, then I'm sorry, but I have an answer. It just may not be what you want to hear. So, and that's just me being Texas, truthful, lost a son, and I'm in the middle of fighting on something that got thrown out when Trump was thrown out. So, I found certain people who cared, and the commissioner is one. And it doesn't matter which state. I mean, I'm always shocked. I'm like, my goodness, what state are you in now? Like, what are you in the country, or are you in a different country? So it's rare lately to get in as much as they've had to campaign. Now, in the early days, the commissioner will tell you that when Trump was in and couldn't go anywhere. Now, they had to get out there and do this because somebody needed to. That's who did it. Commissioner Miller right there. Commissioner Miller is here in Texas. He's right on the screen with you right now, but I do love a couple of these. That one in his office. But I want to show you something because, Commissioner, maybe I have the side. I want the side of the bus, but I don't think I have it. This bus has been around with the commissioner to travel around. Gasandgroceries.us. I'll put it down. You put in your zip code, you'll find out, and he'll tell you better than me. Right here. So that is Trump's van. That's about the closest I can get to you tonight to Trump. Is sitting right there. So he knows this is a very important subject. So in order to do this, like even past a certain time, I know that you have to get up. I know that your schedule is tight. You know, I am appreciative that you said, you know what? Nope, I'll jump in there. Let me jump in and not let you sink there, Tracy. I'm making a bad joke. So I wouldn't sink. I would go find him though and say, which one? So Commissioner Miller, with the families taking the time like this and knowing that you're out there and you're traveling around, I don't have a picture. Explain to them what's on the side of the bus.
There's some out there. Of course, I can't pull one up on this short notice, but basically, you know, back in the spring, I decided that, you know, Trump was either going to be in the courthouse or the jailhouse, you know, the last 60 days of the race. So I decided that somebody was going to have to get out and campaign for him. So I came up with this idea to get this double-decker bus and wrap it and call it the gas and grocery store. You're seeing the rear end, the back end of the bus. That just shows the swing states where we're taking the bus and trying to turn out the vote. Our goal is to move 1% of the vote in those swing states Trump's way. If we are successful and move 1% of the vote, every swing state we do that in, he wins it. So it's not a monumental task. It's that close. Some states we're talking about 4,000 votes, you know, 8,000 votes. So it's a very doable deal. So we took it to the state convention here in Texas. I took it to the first rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Then we went on up to the RNC convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we're going around state to state, still trying to, you know, turn out the vote, do what we can to make sure that Trump wins this election. If we don't, we lose our country.
Absolutely.
We can't stand another 4 years of the Biden-Harris, you know, Kamala. It'll be just more of the same, except probably worse. She's more inept than Biden, is what we're seeing. You know, and we're seeing, you know, it's starting to come out. I think everybody's starting to see her, you know, what she really is. And that's in Trump is getting some momentum. So I feel pretty good about the bus tour. Feeling better about the election. It's still a lot closer than I would like.
Yeah,
It baffles me. I don't understand that. I struggle with that one every day. What the hell happened to America?
But we just have to win. We have to win big. We have to win so big they can't rig. You know,
Exactly.
right.
Too big to rig.
Yeah, and really, so tonight, not turning all of this into politics, number one. However, Jim and Darren did come to me. Literally, Jim did. I had no clue. I don't watch a TV box. I get my information directly from sources, and started looking into it. And then, ironically, Jim just happened to cross paths with me. So, I said, you know, what is it I can do? And it is, number one is we want this message out to Trump. We are grateful. We are thankful. And I'm speaking for myself, and I know how Jim feels, and we'll ask Darren, but use me, use my story. He needs to start calling on. Trump is so good to us that, you know, I just did the border agent that was killed here in Sarita, Texas, Javier Vega Jr. He's part of my family. I don't think you know that, Commissioner. He's literally part of my family. We just did their story. And it's a heck of a story. This is before Title 42. that he was shot and killed, and the way that he was shot and killed is absolutely horrifying. Horrifying. So I'm trying to get in here and say, we're not doing politics. We're telling the truth right now. This is called truth telling. It is called setting the record straight. And it is called making sure we do not run into things. And they're talking to, oh, don't scare everyone. I'm not scaring anyone. I'm telling the truth.
Yep.
So don't come at me with your comments out there. I mean, my son's already buried. I've done that part. He served for my freedom to do it, for our freedom of speech, our Constitution, every bit of it. Texas Constitution. I throw that in there as a Texan. So I wanted to make sure that Darren, you know, when I saw your YouTube video and I had other people come to me, that they understood where your heart is, not even knowing that you're a police officer, or what was really going on, and you're on an airplane. Because Darren, it might have been a good thing you were on that airplane, because if you had been there and you had seen that,
Yeah.
I think that you might have reacted to that.
I thought about that.
Yeah, I most certainly would have. There's no doubt. You know, we've gotten plenty of coverage from all of us. And there's outlets that are decent with us. They're good with us. And there's others like NPR, and I'll call them out for what they are. Leftist, far left leaning rag. That's all they are to me. But there are others out there that will step up and tell our stories, such as what we're doing right now. And grateful for those that do that. You know, our kids set their legacy, and right now we're riding on their coattails.
Absolutely.
You know, and there are 2,461 that were killed in Afghanistan. All of those brothers and sisters that went before them. Grateful for them. You know, there's many thousand more that left their blood, sweat, and tears, pieces of themselves, their minds, in some cases, and we need to be grateful for that. We need to get back to acknowledging these kids. I mean, they put it all on the line for each and every one of us. And they don't have an R or a D or a I behind their name or in front of their name. They're flat out patriots that choose to defend this country.
Absolutely.
And we need to honor them. We need to thank them. We need to be grateful for them. And by dang, we've got to take the country back. Trump has got to get in. We've got to do whatever we need to do in order to get him back.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I feel the same way. Commissioner knows how I feel, because every time I'm like, just go ahead and throw me in there and let me just tell the truth about what's happened. There's more to mine. I don't mind doing it because it is the truth. You know, and I hope that people out there are paying attention to certain things and going, wait a minute, how does he know who the Gold Star families are? How is he in touch with so many? Because I haven't ran across a single, well, there's a bunch out there I don't know, and it's sad. I don't want anyone to be in that title at all. I don't want the title, literally. I am not associated, I have to say this, with any nonprofit organization that has to do with that. I am not associated with anything except myself, my family, and trying to make things better for all of us across America. And that means I get involved. It doesn't mean I get paid to sit here in a chair and talk to you about this. It means that it's something that has to be done, because that one back there that could go fight in Iraq and do everything you could think of and can get parades in Texas, and then all of a sudden when he dies, well, what are we doing? Where's something? I've never, ever, ever honored my son, but I'll say this. I have been very busy in legislation things. So I'm really good at helping other people, right? And then for me, I'm not that great. It's like, I'll get to it. So I put it with the commissioner. I said, Commissioner, I'm going to put Adam on you this time. I seem to help others in lanes that are going to move, like improvements. The two-step back, number one. But we do need to do something for, someone that grew up here, saw 9/11 as we're driving him to school, looks up at me as a little kid and goes, when I get big, I'm joining. And you just, oh, yeah, go to school, go to football, whatever. Bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm going. Really? Wait a minute. Let's talk, son. And he thrived under one administration. So it's interesting that I have had a child serve under multiple administrations. And did he respect them all? Yes. Did he want to be serving in the military under one? No, absolutely not. That kid, home for R&R, for those that don't know what that is, you get a break. You get a quick break. You're at war. You get to come home. He's waiting. They change flights. He's waiting at the Texas airport. Now listen, Texas, everything big. He's sitting there. He wanted to just order himself a drink. Literally, he's not even old enough to be in Iraq. I mean, you can't drink. He's underage. So he was going to get a beverage, not an alcoholic beverage. I can't forget this part. I get a message from my son, and I'm thinking, you're like this every time we're over there. And I'm going, oh, Lord, what is it? And I get a message, and it's my son going, Mom, what happened when I left? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I got two pansies over here arguing over there whether they're getting a Diet Coke or a Coke. He's like, what happened? I'm in Texas. I said, son, hey, it takes a lot of us to go around, but as soon as I get you home, you're going to experience home. So the best thing that I could say is that, all this back and forth, like my son pointed out, wait a minute, I'm over here fighting because y'all want to fight over whether you want a diet drink or a regular drink. I don't think so. If I'm over there fighting for you, you better be talking about something else besides whether you want sugar or not. But it does bring up food. So that's why I have gasandgroceries.us running at the bottom. And I think of that and I laugh. So gasandgroceries.us, right, Commissioner? You can put in your zip code.
Yeah, you can put in your address, your email address, and it will tell you just what the Biden administration has done to your family budget, how much your gas and groceries have gone up under this administration. And we think that's important to the independent voters, the undecided voters. Probably most of us tonight have our minds made up. But for those out there that are undecided, if you see how much your gas has grown up, your groceries have gone up, your utilities, your insurance, I think that could have a good influence on the ballot box when you go in there.
I hope so. I really, really, I pray on it, and I try to keep myself in that positive lane. I have this to add. Can you please give me some insight on if somebody's running and they're already in the White House, they're already a vice president, you're telling me you're going to do something. Why aren't they doing it now?
Well, I think she's been asked that question, but she doesn't have an answer for it. Her answer is, I grew up in a middle class family, and goes off on this, diversion tactic, I guess, in the military is what they would call it. But it's a non-answer. She doesn't. In the reason she does that, she doesn't have an answer. She can't answer it. She doesn't know what the answer is because there is not one.
Yeah, I wondered. I'm like, okay, you tell me you're going to do this, then just turn around and do it. Like, you're already there. Prove it.
Well, number one, she doesn't know how to do it. Number two, she doesn't know what.
And the second part to this is, it might have frozen. The second part to this is that I keep getting, and I'm like, please pay attention here. It's a female. We want our first time female president. The first time we're going to have a female in office. I'm like, that's not a reason Not right now. In the future, sure, of course. But right now,
You
don't
still got to
vote.
base your vote on policies and where you want the country to be and the things that matter, not just what your gender is, for crying out loud.
And it doesn't have to do with gender. It's a matter of a first. The first time for a female president. Do we need our first to be his internet was going. So that was Commissioner Miller, everybody. I'll bring up his photos in a moment. Jim knows how this goes, Darren. At any point you say, I need to step out, you say like this, and I have a way to do that for you. But nobody knows that at that same day, and we have our same viewers who are literally, that's what I keep looking at. I know where they are. And thank you, because I can see you, not in a bad way, in a good way. I can't physically see you as a person. I'm not like AI or anything. But Darren, I kept getting the question that was like, what is the deal? But I saw him there. He had the wreath, and I said, my God, if I could have had Trump show up at anything, I would have. It's somebody before. So I've had multiple, and Jim knows this. Like, I don't get into too much of mine, but I've had to bury way too many people, and it's around 20 something, and only one was COVID. Only one. Some of them are because of COVID, but that's too many. And I'm not going there, but you mentioned TAPS. I just got back. I went to my very first TAPS anything. And what I'd have to say to you is on back channels. I had a great experience. My son had a great experience. I would not go to TAPS with anything that involves legislation. I would not go to them in anything except for camaraderie, meeting people, picking which class you want to go hear a speaker. A lot of food, lots of food, a lot of food. Very Texan here. But it was very, very, very good for my son. So I for a long time stayed away. I haven't been out there. First, there's a lot of fighting that needed to be done. I'm a fighter. It's like, do you lay down, go to sleep, or cry? You have to get up and fight. I have to get up and fight. I've always had to do that. There wasn't another option for me. So Darren, when you did that YouTube video, like I talked to you today, I was saying, when you either tonight or another time you're feeling you need to get out something, you need to say, go watch Patriots Inside the Wire. If you want to hear true stories, you want to hear the real deal, go listen to that lady over there. She'll get both sides in here. Hey, let's bring them both sides in here, and let's have our own, the people's debate. I'm fine with that too, because I say to people, I'm like, look, I want to pull you inside out. Let me look and see if you got a heart. Okay, you've got a heart. All right, let's pull it together here. And if you don't agree with me, I can agree to disagree. As long as there's common sense, as long as they have the common sense and the wherewithal to know the basics, like you mentioned, Jim, the basics of what is going on. And then they have someone like us who could say, I'll say it, not for you. I'm not okay that my son was government property and didn't get to take off that uniform. I am not okay with the way people handle things. And I'll continue to go with that one. I'll continue my fight. I just got started. I don't even think, I took care. The military was really good for me. Military was great to my son. So I'm fortunate there. Jim, you know my story. I don't give my story out much. But Darren, one day will let you find out. And I guarantee as a police officer, you're going to, some. You'll know enough to go, oh, yeah. I know why she's fighting, because this is a federal situation that nobody's understood yet. So, and it also dismantles other laws because it's never been there. So this isn't that show. One day I will tell mine. I was glad to have the commissioner come in. I wanted him to hear from both of you. And I wanted you to know that if he steps in here, especially at this hour, he's been in an event all day. And he's like, I will do it because it should be done. And I said, yes, sir. And he's like, okay, the time. And I say the time. He's like, Tracy. I said, I know, you'll be okay. You move more than I do.
He was only going to give us a half an hour, and we got him for an hour, so I feel pretty.
Well, I know, and I'll call tomorrow and say thank you and all that. So he's a very good person. You either love him or you don't like him at all. It's one or the other. That's kind of how that goes. But in legislation, which is bipartisan, I need people to work together. So while they try to work together, I'm hoping that they remember the basic principles of, even in kindergarten, even in school, we don't treat people like this. This is how we act. And this is why when you vote, local voting's coming up here. You know, we got our elections, presidential election, but yeah, you're going to hear me say, I sure hope you know when you have no clue whose name's on there locally. And you're like, oh, that name looks good. It starts with and there you go.
Yeah, no.
No.
Things don't work that way. Things don't work that way.
No. And so, yes, I will use the next 3.5 weeks to get information out that will say, listen, you need to understand, I'm not trying to scare anyone. You know, that's been lately. Oh, the scare tactic. They're just trying to scare you. No, I'm educating. I like to inform. I want to be informed too. So I like to get direct source of information. And so there's a community of us that stick around with each other. You know, we've got a hurricane again. I swear, Jim, I don't know what it is. You come on and there's a hurricane. I meant in a way. All right, y'all got me on that
That's
one.
True. Wait a minute.
That's my Texas humor, I guess. I don't know, my dry sense of humor. I'm very honest, as you can tell, and it comes to my head, I say it. We have a lot of viewers again on that same channel, and they sent me a message before. I said, hey, we're watching out right now for the hurricane hitting Florida. And so the ones that were there at North Carolina are moving over to Florida. But Florida is important too, because in order to do what they're trying to do, like tonight, I had a couple reach out to me and go, you're going to do something, right? And I'm like, yeah, why? And they said, we are knocked out. Our electricity, everything that's happening, somebody's got to do something. And I'm like, yeah, I will always. Like Wednesdays, I get airtime. Nobody owns me as a station. There's a collective group of patriots that contribute time. One that stays, well, behind the scenes. I guess I'm not behind the scenes. And then head of security was needed. And so we're grateful for that. And his son just graduated boot camp, not far from me, in production, who jumps because this is a patriot that knows and sees what is going on. And I did have a weird day, interestingly enough. So yes, we are here to do what we're supposed to do. And that means anytime, just like I said to Jim, I said, if you're actually serious, and you don't have to be completely serious all the time, as you can tell, we wanted to come back and watch. Come back with Jim. Like, we got about 3 weeks to start getting information out. And your voice there, Darren, you saw the intro. It's funny, with the head of security, I was saying, I'm sorry, production. I said, I need a louder voice. I need a mad voice. That's what I want. And in the end, when you realize, it's almost like a cadence, but I need a loud, like, growl me, like, I am not okay. This is BS. So I think you've got that voice, Darren. I know you do. I saw that video.
Very
I
matter of
just-
fact, very honest and straightforward. And that's
Yep.
Yeah.
one of the things I love about Darren is
Yeah.
there's no BS in there. It's
Well, when
take
it's game time, it's game time.
tell you what he thinks and how he feels. And that's pretty refreshing in this day and age.
Yes.
And for my girls and I, you know, we're so similar. And I think that's why Darren and I have just kind of,
Yeah.
even when I have to have Royce answer my phone or send me messages from Darren or whatever, you know, that's just been a fantastic relationship. And there's a cohesiveness there that is absolutely beautiful. You would think you and I have known each other our whole lives.
Yep, I
Honestly.
agree.
And we only came together because of what happened August 26th, 2021. But
Yeah.
And
more than you, you're a brother to me. So
as you are to me. I mean, it's a family we didn't ask for, but gosh dang it, I'm glad we've got it. And we've got each other to lean on. So
absolutely. And I lean on you more than you know.
well, it goes both ways. It goes both ways, Pops.
Well, and I asked Jim this. Darren, I'll ask you. Like I don't have a group like that. And I said, Jim, do you think it's easier having the 13 versus just losing your son? Darren?
You know,
Not that I want to lose any.
no. Having a unfortunately, this is going to come out wrong, but with the great amount that we had, our 13, we're able to draw and pull from each other. If somebody's having a down day, hey, make a phone call, pick each other back up. When we get together, it's to get the job done that we need to get done with our legislation that we're trying to do. And, you know, we get to kick back, relax, and be together. And, you know, unfortunately, and I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that, you know, where there's more than just one, that it's a little bit easier for those families to come together. But for one here, one there, you know, the Gold Star family is a tight knit one, but they might not understand because every one of them's story is different, but ours is unique, unfortunately. And you know, we've come together. We're able to call each other. We're able to draw from each other, like I said, and it's a good family to have. If there is a family to be had over a tragedy like this is the one that we have, and I'm grateful for it.
Well, I mean, I like that. I like that. I think that was Jim's answer too, was that, you know, it's not something you wish for. It's just that, you know, I draw from a different experience in my experience. So I'll end up saying to Jim, and I can tell you too, I'm a very honest person on the back channel. There's just certain areas. Hi, how are you, hon? I see you. I see you all. I'm sorry that I was really trying to pay attention to the commissioner. To get that much time out of him was a lot. And that's because he cares. I know exactly where he's going. As soon as he, either tonight or in the morning, he'll be taking this back and going, you got 3 people who, well, they already knew that I would, but you know, they will speak, but make sure, and I'm going to send a message that says, no, we are not being used as a political anything. However, since you went there, now you will. So now, since you went there, let's go ahead and let us do it. So, because he doesn't want to use anyone, literally. I've never, like, he could have used me for multiple times, multiple things.
And
Never
I've
happened.
said that to you numerous times. There is nothing that Trump has done at all where I feel like he used me or that he used the family or said something or posted something that I was offended by, or man, I wish he wouldn't have done that. Absolutely zero.
Yes.
Well, my meetings with him have been absolutely beautiful and you feel the compassion, and I can look him in the eye, and there is just such a warmth and a love there. I, not even thinking last time when we were in Salt Lake, I shook his hand and asked him if there's anything you need from me, let me know. It just came out because that's how I feel. He has been so good to us. And I miss the Bedminster thing, and I miss some other things. I was at a different place in my life at that time, so I kind of stepped back from things. But I would still either hear stories from Darren or see what Darren was posting. I still followed along. I just kind of hid in the shadows a little bit. Everything was absolutely beautiful, and it was what the families needed at that time. Granted, I wasn't with the families, but I was in my own way. And I was feeling everything that they were feeling and hearing those stories. And the man has been absolutely amazing. This is not the man the media portrays.
No.
Completely 100% different than what they portray him as. The man is absolutely
I'd like to ask you both a question. It's a big question that I get, Jim. You already know it. It's two, actually. Number one, because you want your first female as a president. Come on. That's ridiculous. That is the younger generation thinking that's cool. Do you really think it's cool when we end up in situations that aren't going to be pretty? We're actually already in a situation.
My honest opinion is that is a horrible reason to vote. If that's your reason to vote, then just don't vote.
Please don't vote.
Exactly.
That should not be the reason. The other reason is, A, if she could do something, she would have already done it.
Yep.
B, if there's a slight difference in something that you don't agree with versus 90% of something you do, then you know what? Take that, because you want that 90%. You don't want that 10%. That 10% is where you're going to get in trouble. And so I'll ask you this, Darren. I have many people say to me, but he said this and he said that, and the way that he talked about that woman, and I'm like, okay, do you go home with your coworkers every day? Do you have any clue what your coworkers do after work? Do you have their resume, number one? Number two, do you follow them home to see what they say, what they do, how they are? Okay, let's say President Trump. He is on his downtime. Is the man entitled to have downtime?
Absolutely.
We hope so he can have enough sleep to take care of the country, right? Now, judging someone based on comments, were some of them sharp? Were some of them it's kind of that sense of humor, that people want to pick on. And I say, I don't think there's a single human being out there that's going to sit around and tell me that they've been 100% by the book, never said a single thing that they shouldn't have. Come on.
Yep.
I mean,
and that's kind of what draws me to him even more, is that he does speak his mind. Is like you said, is he sharp a little bit? Maybe. If you're looking to take that away from your interaction or what you see on the news, then fine, that's what you're going to take away from. If you're looking for something positive, look for something positive out of it.
Yep.
Don't constantly go to the negative just because mainstream media tells you to, because your neighbor down the street tells you to, because a parent at a football game or a soccer game or whatever tells you that you're a piece of crap for liking the guy. No, I'm not. This is why. Because he's engaged and he understands. He's fighting for us.
Yep.
100% for us. And by us, I mean all Americans. Everybody in this country, he is fighting for them. And we need to back him up.
Yep.
100%.
Unfortunately, many of the comments that he's still getting beat over the head with have been debunked. They've been proven that it's not what he said. That's not the context of what was said. but the media still throws it out there as if it was truthful and honest, and that's exactly what happened, and it is not. I can go through a list of the things that have been proven that's not what he said, from Charlottesville to January 6th, proven wrong. The media has been proven wrong, yet they're still beating him with those statements. On the other side of that, you're not voting for your next prom date, your fiance, or your boyfriend. You're voting for who is going to lead the country in the right direction.
Exactly.
So take that personal angst that you have because the media told you you're not supposed to like him. Who is going to do the best job for the country? And it's as simple as that. If people just back up, take a breath, and go, okay, who is better for the country on the economy, on security, on the border? Go down the list. Well, it's a no-brainer. I still struggle to understand how this election is even as close as they're saying it is, given the two choices that you have. One who didn't even win the nomination, who got 0 votes, was out before Iowa even voted. And all of a sudden, the media has propped her up to be this darling, in a neck and neck race with Trump. That just blows me away that we have lost our intellect and our intelligence to vote intelligently. I don't know how else to say that, but
at least research, at least get some of the true information, some true numbers. That's why we're here right now is, I've got several messages coming in that I'll get to. The commissioner wants everybody to know that he did have to leave. Literally, he let his phone go. And he wants you to know that he cares and that he is taking this, and he's mentioning to me, he's talking about NPR. You mentioned NPR, National Public Radio. That's what y'all were referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's saying to you, it is subsidized by the government.
Yep.
And usually on an NPR station, it's on a lower channel because it's subsidized by the government. That's who you have, is a lower spectrum there. That's the government that actually, when you talked about reaching out to you, and I do believe that y'all knew that, but he wanted me to say, mention this and that, my phone, and that he was waiting. So I've got that one covered. When we get airtime, everyone, it's like if someone runs over, I have to wait, be patient, everybody out there. It's like either we can get the information out just to one platform or we can get it to 12 easily. So waiting an extra 10 minutes, but time is valuable. I understand that. Life is short. We all know this right here on the screen. I do want to do this usually in the show. I'm looking though. I see you out. I see you, and I'm going to show you some things right now. And y'all are like, what is she talking about? I am talking about on X, and my lame joke is Twitter and MySpace had a baby, and now it's called X Spaces. So on X Spaces, there are true, believe it or not, like literally in last session, it's every 2 years in Texas, I was told I needed to go on. And I'm like, why? And they said, because during legislation, that's where you're going to push it. And so that's how I ran into X Spaces. And then I started with doing an X Space, Pages Inside the Wire. And then I had several people go, Tracy, take it a step further. You're ready. Get back out there. And I'm like, I'm not sure I can go back to work in a building where I'm not going to lead everybody to walk out and strike and we're not here any longer. That would be me. But you've got a lot of messages here that I'll get to. And it seems like, yes, you're right. I agree. I don't know if you're going to know some of these people, but Chaz Carter, you say, Jim and Darren, great job putting information out there that needs to be heard. I agree. Thank you for that. You've got John Chivley. Jim, keep your family and friends close. I take it, Jim, you know this person.
Absolutely.
They didn't say they didn't say Darren and Tracy, keep your people close. Taylor, that was for Jim. I should have been clear. Thank you for making me laugh, Taylor. This is a friend of mine right here, there in North Carolina. I do agree with that.
So do I.
They're telling us everybody needs to hear you guys, please. Trump 2024. And again, yes, and how genuine, and this is related to Trump. So Taylor's mentioning, relay how many times how genuine that he is and has been long term, because I'm further down than you are. Meaning he was still in with what's on my wall, but not when he was killed. So you only see one letter back there aside from somebody in Texas. So and that's my own personal, actually it's my son's. I won't tell his story, never mind. I was going to tell you why. We choose what we want, we do what we want, and we can do that because we've had our children serve for this country, for our rights, for our freedoms. And then the ultimate sacrifice, taking an oath on foreign and domestic. Again, I got to say this because too many people are arguing over this. You go in the service, and I'm talking about military. You go in the service, you are serving, you are working for your government property, number one. Government property. And that's weird when you're a parent. It's very different. When they swear that oath, foreign and domestic, listen to me, people. That means things that are happening on U.S. soil. They're not sitting around playing camp. They're not sitting around playing toy soldiers. Now, I can speak for me. He's all infantry, all in, wanting to be in the front, wanting to do all this stuff. And I'm like, hold on. He has he just gets his fight in him. I wonder where he got it. Going back down range. And so that was all great. But there's some things out there that we have to fix because it's still not fixed. And this was before we had issues like what we're facing right now. So, we definitely need to pay attention. We definitely need to point out the stories in regards to Trump that are true. He knows what a Gold Star family is. He's very, very close to, and I'm going to be bringing that up. That's why I'm leading into this. I can see, don't worry, I can't see who you are, like physically see your picture, but I can see that you're right there. So if you're following us on X, it's on Patriot on Air. Again, if you're on X, it's Patriot on Air. Thank you for that. And I see the few there. So just so you know, from now on, if you're going to the show, you're going on a show, I have a commercial platform. So I am able to see all of that. We thank you. We like it when you tune in. The numbers seem to climb. That happened with Jim the other night. It's like the more we start talking, and everybody else is shut down right now with hurricanes. So the other night, it was like, we need help. Can you stay up and do this? And I'm like, Jim, do you have another 30 minutes or more to you? And he's like, sure.
My goodness, we were up until like 3:15 in the morning or some darn thing.
Yeah, but they needed it. North Carolina was having some massive issues. Like right now, what I'm getting is Florida. So they're stating that please, please, please keep the information going that the main people who are usually out there and running things and doing things are stuck in right now because of the hurricane. So this is the second time we're here and it's a hurricane, and it's like, will y'all please keep going because everybody's out of commission right now. Like not money, but literally time, internet, things that we all lean on. I give it to North Carolina. They did not expect what was going to hit them. But I think what I'd like to do, Darren, is so usually at the end, towards the end of the show, we'll see what happens here with, and if you're watching, if you could send us a message, I'm able to see that better. Y'all are seeing me go over here and look. If you're able to send me a message, and you just go right up under where you're watching and just put the message there, and it will come right here, and I'll be able to see that. So if there's something you'd like to tell us, or something that we need to know, just go right there, any platform you're on, and put a message there. And we will definitely see what we can do. If we can't do it, and thank you for that. I see that. Brent is like, don't forget about Sergeant Two-Step. Thank you for that. I kind of, like I told y'all, I tell the truth. I do a great job at helping others. I don't do so well at standing up for me. I stand up, don't get me wrong, but I don't do the story. One day I will do it. There's a lot to it. So as far as, and I don't know what this means, honey. This is Lori, and Lori, I think, knows Jim. And I think she's naming me Betsy. I don't know if it's Betsy Ross. I think that's a joke.
Betsy was another woman that commented just a little bit ago. I think they know each other through Trees of Valor as well.
Her.
There you go. Yep.
Got it. I'm like, all back and forth. There's something about Betsy, and I'm going.
And I've met Betsy, but I have not met Lori yet. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I know Lori very well. She'll be glad to tell you how she knows me. You're allowed to put that in writing, Lori. I see you. You are allowed to say how you know me, or actually just what I did. If you want to say what I did, you can say what I did. You won't find me anywhere. And if there's an issue about honoring, taking up for people, I probably need to do a few more things, but I just immediately react. It's just something I've always had to do. I didn't come into this world easy. It's just always been a situation where if you don't get out there and do something about it, you're in trouble. So you got to get active. Darren, even serving like you do in the police force, I know that you have a lot that you could contribute as far as being an officer too, as far as Trump. Do you feel like most of, and literally I'm thinking the majority or less, feels like we do about Trump when we talk about military, but then when we talk about our first responders and our officers, do you think that they feel the same way?
I think by and large, yes. With all of the cancel culture that we've got out there, I can't speak for everybody by any stretch of the imagination, but by far and large, I think they do. Yes.
Good.
Because he knows he has their back.
Right. Well, I was glad to hear that. I have I see her writing. It is not dip that I have in, everyone. It's pistachios. It's for my cancer surgery, so don't send me a message. To create saliva, it's a trick. It's a pistachio, and it makes my saliva work. And I'm doing good, cancer-free. So I already beat that one. Now we need Trump to get in and make sure that we stay out of everything we need to get pulled together. So she's writing. I'm going to let you. She's saying Betsy is good, people. Yeah, you are allowed, Lori, to tell everybody how you know me. I don't mind. We were somewhere, and she needed to do something to honor the fallen. And I said, what do you need? Okay, no big deal. Go do it. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, go do it. And if you don't, then I'm going to be mad. So, great. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know about strongest, but I do worry about Mariah, so I'm saying my prayers for her. I know that she's been extremely ill, so this is Lori. Oh, she's telling y'all, so she finally did honor the fallen and then got kicked out of the group. I may have saved you a lot of heartache, honey. If you can't do what you're there for and you're traveling all around to be at an event, and that's Tree of Valor, everybody, and you'll see her on from time to time. She'll do guest co-hosting spots. They travel around. Just like I mentioned to Jim the other night, the best one that I found, and listen, I haven't been out there much when it comes to going to things. I I think I mentioned that to you, Darren. Like, I haven't even done anything in honor of my son yet. So, not that I haven't wanted to. It's just been interesting for me. So, what I'd like to do is, and Lori, don't worry, you're in good hands there. We have one other Gold Star mother who does broadcasts out there. Ironically, there's not many of us that do it because it's hard. It's like, you want me to talk about a situation that's tough. Like, it's not an easy topic. It's like nobody asked for my resume either. It's like, well, this is what I've done before. So I can't go in a building, but I can do this from where I'm at. And so this is what we do. I am going to pull up some pictures here. So pay attention. We're at number 24. My number is 24. It was Adam's football number. Sergeant Two-Step means together forever. The number 24. I can see you there. Stand by. What we'll do is the same thing we did with the others. Jim, you're familiar with this. So I'm hoping you don't pick the one song that I didn't know what it was. The guys got me last time on here. So I have several veterans. And Darren, what I'm going to do is pull up some of the pictures. And we're going to roll through that. So because we're at hour 45 here. Oh, we know that, hun. We know it. We're going to have to get you on here. We'll have to get you on. But right now, pay attention, because what we're going to do is something that we usually do. We have a couple of announcements, and then we have a slideshow that we have, and you're going to get to pick which veteran's song that you'd like to pick. And you're familiar with this, Jim. Before I do it, I have a few other pictures because I want someone to understand what we're doing. Remember, we'll be on a podcast. So every podcast there is in about 18 hours, they can't see us. So again, on this screen right now, you have a mother, OIF and OEF. That's Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraq. You have my son, goes by Sergeant Two-Step. I am out of Texas. He did not make that choice to take off his uniform. He did not get to come home. My eldest son, who should be here. You have Jim McCollum, who's up on the screen right now, part of Afghanistan 13. His son is Rylee. Rylee will also, unfortunately, not get to come home. He did not choose to take off that uniform. Jim has under his name help. It's an emergency help call from North Carolina. And that might be from the last, or it means we still need help. I know that they do in North Carolina for a long time. It was bigger than Katrina. I don't think people understand that. And I see your message there, Lori. I get it. I'm with you. I love you. And then we have Darren. Darren tonight, Darren Hoover. It was interesting. Production, there were a couple of people that were going, well, what's the name? Because they both say Darren. That's why I said senior and junior. It was really confusing them. So I said junior so that they would understand, wait, there's a father, the first name Darren that he was named after, and then you called him Taylor. So right. That's why I did that. They're going to go, Tracy, you called that man's son a name, and he said that you're not right. People are like that. I'll get a message that's going to say, how dare you? You got his son's name wrong. I did not. I literally noticed it, and I actually was on the phone today with Darren.
I still do it when I start talking too fast. Yeah.
Well, we got to talk a little
get
today.
Taylor confused with Darren because I know who I'm talking about, but the name just comes out. Royce calls me on all the time.
Well, no, I got it. I know he's Darren Hoover, and I know that Taylor Hoover, his name is officially, he's right there beside the picture, is Taylor Hoover. However, every name you're going to see that we pull up that was official documents is Darren Hoover. And so this is his father. Just to clear that up, because I've had too many people ask me that question. You're on this screen right now for the Afghanistan 13, two fathers, and I am with Patriots Inside the Wire. Check out the podcast. go to YouTube. You can check out the show. We do need Darren to do a little bit of a yelling or a little bit of something to rattle everybody to go subscribe and watch what we have going on. It is very important. We would love for y'all to not just view and then go away. If you don't like it or subscribe, at least like it. Do something. It's not too much to ask. None of us are getting paid to be here. I am doing this on my own time, my own dime. So, and the things that we would do that would be, let's go there, wherever there is in Trump's at his location. Let's go there and say, hey, we're showing up. No, we're not waiting for an invite. Let's just go do it. I'm kind of that way. Let's just go do it. Now, if I don't have a money tree, that's a little hard to do. So I haven't even gotten to scholarships. I knew that this needed to, or sponsorships. I do want to do sibling scholarships. That's a big, big, big subject for me. I feel like the siblings are really something that we need to look at and take care of when it comes to the families that are serving and they don't come home. I mean, that is something that's heavy for me.
Well, that's kind of an untapped area.
Yeah.
You know, the fathers and mothers have a different relationship with their child, but it's the brothers and the sisters that have a completely different one and see their brother, their sister, whatever it may be, as their hero, something completely different. There's no less love and no less of a relationship. It's just different. And that's what, like I said, that's an untapped thing there that they need to get some recognition too.
Absolutely.
Yes, the sibling scholarship. I mean, I have been talking about that for quite some time. There's a lot out there. However, you do need to be a little more. Well, you're an officer. You do need to do a little homework before you jump into something. And listen, Gold Star Parents Retreat. That's how Jim met Terry Burgess. Best thing ever. goldstarparentsretreat.org. Check that out, Darren. And I don't know if you went there yet, Jim. You got to send him an email. You just go on to goldstarparentsretreat.org, send an email. I was on Tracy's show, found out about the retreat, and here's my name. Now, you would love this whole concept and the whole thing that's going on there. You're not in a room, which I went to TAPS and I liked the people at TAPS. I mean, depends on what you're looking for. I mean, to each their own when it comes to that side. I don't have a way to tell you one way's better and one way's not. It's whatever works for the person, honestly. It was the first thing I could bring my 15-year-old to. So there aren't many things that are, if they're a retreat or if there's something that's going on, it's usually not, you can't bring the kid. So I hate that part. So Patriot Fest is something I'm working on in sibling scholarships. So I'd love to see if we could we have a Gold Star committee, by the way, Darren. And so we are looking for strong people, and I mean male and female. Don't send me a message again on that one. I have to say that because I'll get them. To uphold and come together and actually make it happen. In order for that to happen, it takes people working together. So that Patriot Fest needs to happen. That's the MC write-in to honor them all. That is, now I'm giving away one of my secrets, UFC. So a cage match in the middle with your vendors are all set up around it. During the day, you've got a few fight cards going on. Either you're tossing the bags in the holes. Everybody has a different name for that. Washers. I call it washers, but whatever. And then towards the late afternoon, you have your singers that come in and you have your food truck. So the vision's there. Everything's there. We'll just need the committee. So got to have some people
Randy
on that
Couture there.
Huh?
We got to get Randy Couture there.
Well, they're listening. He's listening right now, literally, because he's head of security. That is not a joke. Actually, that's not a joke. Y'all can probably see there's a black box down there. Nobody out there in the world can, but that's a true thing. Like, we get it set. That's where we're going to use Randy to take care of that. What I'd like to do is, got it. Let's do this. I'm going to go back to our pictures. I'm looking at the time too. I'm glad that you're all with us. Let me show this for you real quick. Real quick, Darren. We have a couple of more than a couple. We have veterans who support the show. We've got, I'll just tell you some names. Brooks Herring, one hell of a woman. Brooks Herring, the good parts. Brooks Herring, Coming Home. For Those That Remain by Malachi Music. And Mike Parado, I don't know as well, and the song is called Stand. Never listened to it. I'm saying that as a disclaimer. Derek Stoner, excellent. But that's the one that Jen and Terry picked last time. So I'm like, different settings. That's a perfect song. Excellent voice. He's going to get snagged. Do you like, which one would you like? You want to go with?
Let's go with the second one.
The good parts?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. And what's going to happen, everyone, now is I'm going to be pulling up these pictures. I know you're watching, but on the podcast tomorrow, pay attention and please add Brooks Herring to your playlist. If you do not add a musician, just like our show, if you add them to make a veterans playlist, that's what I'm doing. Add them to your list or they do not get credit. Here we go with Brooks Herring music, the good parts. What I'm pulling up, it's going to be pictures. These are going to be the pictures that were sent in by production and the ones that I grabbed too. Here we go with Brooks Herring music.
Can't say you know me unless you know drunk and dry. You can't say you love me and not loveness to hide. You can't praise me for the camera and shame me at the bar. No, you can't have me. Only take the good parts. I know it's not easy, but it sure ain't that hard. Time in between, babe, that tears me apart. When the stage light pollution seems to block out the stars, it's the neon glass sparkle that makes up the good part. coming home.
It took me out so that y'all could see every bit of that production went through. What we just did was we brought up multiple pictures, not only of for Darren, for Taylor Hoover, but Rylee McCollum, and there were a couple in there of the siblings for Sergeant Two Step. Taylor Jones says, "Love you, friend." I think that's for one of you. Oh, Jim.
That would be me. He's a really good
girl
friend of
that
mine.
pops up and is saying how much they love him. I'm not kidding. You're a nice person, Jim. But it sounds like never mind.
Mr. Celebrity.
Honest. I told you I'm honest. I'm like, every time I'm on here, there's a girl that's, hey, I'm like, okay, I'll tell him. You're very popular. I say thank you for joining us. We hit the 2-hour mark. I do see who all is still very, very actively wanting to talk to us. With the power out, please let us know what is going on in Florida. And I'm going to say it, Jim. Jim's going to be like, uh-oh. If there's something going on, something you need, anything we can do, let us know. Get it to us. We'll do what we did for North Carolina. There is a group that is boots on the ground. This is a Black Ops group that has been in the military for years, and now they're out. And they go around doing rescue missions for various things, meaning North Carolina recently. Know them very, very well. So if you're in need, and this hopefully does not become what just happened in North Carolina. So I don't know what works for everyone else, but I have to look at me and say, I'm looking at the big man up there. That's my own way to do things. Whatever it is for someone else, I can't tell you how to live your life. I don't want to tell you how to live your life. I do want to update you and educate you and say, please, if my kid had to do this and he did do it, your children did the same thing, then take that time. Just take that time. I mean, imagine a child and a child, even when you're 18, is still your child. At this point in life, I will always be the mother and they will always be the children. You can't change that just because you went in the military. So, Darren, I hope that you have enjoyed it. I am glad that we got the commissioner on for as long as we did. Literally, that's probably the longest. I mean, I've already got messages. He knows it's a great cause, a worthy cause. He's a show up early kind of guy. I bet you are too, Darren. So usually the show started at 8 when he had been on prior, but our airtime moved to 8:20. So saying thank you to him, literally. And that is what happens. So, but each Wednesday you can find us here live. That's when we have our airtime. No restrictions. We make sure I pay a network. That way I don't have to have anyone telling me what I can and cannot do. So if you'd like to get information out like that again, Darren, you feel like you need to go scream, I'll get you to 12 locations at once and I'll get down off of the board and you can just have at it.
Sounds good. I
think
appreciate it.
For as many people who have not watched that, I'm like, will you just please go watch? You'll know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like you got to bring it to people. So next time I'll just step down and say, yes, here you go. I can even lock it out where it's not even your picture. It's up to you. But you can knock us up to 9 million and then they'll start paying attention. That 9 million is where we need them to start paying attention to, where they're getting their information, their resources, their, it's not just military. This is the reason it's Patriots Inside the Wire. This is for patriots out there. This is for, we need law and order. You have to have that. So for our first responders, We have to remember them, our officers and the things they're doing, the Border Patrol agents, it's military. It's all of it. It is people. And how many times I say that? It's people. In general, we have got to be better to each other.
Absolutely.
I do by saying, you never know when you're going to be that one person who's going to tip someone over the edge. That is the very last thing that I want to happen. I want people to understand that in life, it's not always easy. Even for me, I have hard times. I know I can pull it together and do the warrior paint and all that. And I don't care to do all this all the time, but I call it warrior paint. Psyching myself out that, the mascara won't let me cry or something. But what I'm doing here is saying, please call 988 and search for help. If you're someone that is in need of that, you try to reach me on a messenger or a message like that. I typically do not look at messages that are inside of a social media account. Go to the website, find us. We'll get Darren on yelling and getting everybody to realize now that I'm at a different station to build the numbers back up. So Darren, you've got that role. Let's get some people in line and tell them, come on, dang it, you could do this. So with that and the brand right here, I don't know if you're on this either, Darren, because I could not get you today at all. But you've got Fallen Heroes National Foundation. We're not just the Fallen Heroes Foundation. Ours is national. Fallen Heroes National Foundation, and then Gold Star Family Foundation. And that is, if you don't know what it is, I'm glad that you don't. But next week, join us on a Wednesday. No telling what we're going to be talking about. I got a reach out today from someone who is, I don't do the celebrity thing, but they did a documentary about something that's really, really important about your health. And a lot of us, when we go through trauma like this, our bodies are going through trauma. So it was interesting. My day was very interesting. Darren, I had just hung up with this person and we did it through video, and it was strange because I'm really into documentaries, just put it that way. And this person has a documentary, and her sister is extremely famous, but multiple kids serving. I was like, whoa, right? Okay. We'll have to talk later about what that was on the back channel, but you'll hear in a moment. I see you, and I'm extremely grateful, and each one of us are too. I will be sure to get Darren back. I'm sure Jim can get a hold of multiples. We'll make sure these next few weeks that we keep getting information out. They're wanting more, don't stop. Tonight, as Darren has even put it, we're 2 hours in, it's getting late. So I agree with you, Darren. I think what we will do is play this out, which is, if you pay attention here, you'll hear a voice that I was like, you'll see why I need your voice on a couple things. So here is one, though, and it does have a special part. So thank you for everyone joining Patriots Inside the Wire. Again, Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. We talked about Afghanistan 13, and we have the fathers here and the truth. If you want to know the truth, go listen to Patriots Inside the Wire. I don't know how to lie.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star Mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please stand by on the stage here with our guests. But right now, for Patriots Inside the Wire, we thank you. Follow us again. Wednesdays. You'll always see us on a Wednesday. Or if you have something urgent, let us know.